Bathroom Breaks and Bedtime Tales presents The Liar's Bench by Sevastian Winters. Nobody trusted Charlie Dawe, but everyone listened to him. He was the best liar in Tanner's Creek, a little finger of a town curled around the shores of Lake Erie, where winters cut mean and fast through thin coats and thinner bones. The townsfolk called the bench outside Morrie's Deli the Liar's Bench, and Charlie sat there every morning, nursing the same cracked mug of coffee, waiting for listeners. I first met Charlie when I was 14, during that long stretch of summer when the cicadas buzzed hot and lazy, and the docks smelled permanently of fish and diesel. Charlie wore shirts 2 sizes too big and a fisherman's cap pulled low over eyes as blue and cloudy as sea glass. He'd lost a leg years back. "Shark bit it clean off in Lake Erie, honest to God," he'd tell wide-eyed tourists, and now leaned heavily on a cane carved from driftwood, which he'd tap rhythmically as he spoke, like punctuation to his tales. "You know, Benji," he said to me one morning, waving me close with a conspiratorial twitch of his eyebrows, "there's a sunken train beneath this lake. Sunk back in '32 during a freak storm, filled with silver bars bound for the mint. They reported it that way at first, but then they hushed it up. Said it was just cargo, farm equipment, and cattle feed. And try as they might, they never did find that silver." I laughed. "Charlie, trains don't run under lakes." "Who said it ran? Said it sank, didn't I? Rolled right off the tracks during a flood. 20 feet of mud covers it now. Lake mud thick enough to hide any sin." He sipped his coffee, eyes dancing over the rim of his mug. "One day, Benji, someone clever enough, someone who listens real close, might just find it." I listened, more closely than I should have. When you're 14 and your father's gone, and your mother drinks her days away, using whiskey to drown sorrow she won't name, silver at the bottom of a lake sounds just possible enough to believe, like hope. 2 days later, with borrowed scuba gear from Uncle Pete's garage and the map Charlie drew on a napkin, its blue ink spidered out with carefully placed X's, I dove into the murky green quiet beneath the pier. I found the mud, thick as Charlie promised, my arms churning to keep steady in the gloom. No train, no silver, just an old bicycle and beer bottles glittering like false treasure. I surfaced, cold, embarrassed, and angry. Charlie sat on his bench, waiting, a little smirk tucked in the corner of his mouth. "Thought you might," he said softly when I stormed up, dripping onto his boots. "Had to know if you had the heart for it." "You lied, Charlie," I spat. "Always do," leaning back, eyes half closed in the sun. "Always do, son, but not about everything. Sometimes life is about how well you listen." I didn't sit with him again for 2 years. I passed his bench daily, sometimes stopping to listen, but always staying back. Yet his stories, wild, impossible, beautiful, stayed with me. Buried treasure off the coast, ghost ships drifting in foggy dawns, fishermen who talked to lake spirits. Every tale a new scar, a fresh layer to the mystery of Tanner's Creek. Then came the storm of '92. It blew in late August, sudden and mean, skies black as oilcloth. Waves climbed docks, battered homes, and swallowed boats whole. Amid the chaos, someone said Charlie had gone missing. Last seen stumbling toward the docks, shouting something no one caught. I ran through pounding rain, calling his name into the shrieking wind. Near the end of the pier, lit by angry lightning, I spotted his fisherman's cap bobbing against dark water. Then I saw the shape of something that looked like it might be him, bouncing below the surface. I dove without thinking, currents snatching at my limbs, lungs burning from swallowing lake water. He was limp, heavy in my arms, eyes shut. Somehow I pulled him ashore, collapsing beside him, gasping for air. I was trying desperately to remember how to do CPR when Charlie coughed suddenly, lake spilling from his lips. He looked at me, dazed and pale. "Benji?" "Yeah," I breathed, half laughing, half sobbing. "I got you, Charlie." He smiled weakly, hand gripping my sleeve. Charlie went to the hospital and never returned to the bench. The storm had taken something from him it couldn't give back. Before he left, he summoned me to his bedside, where he lay surrounded by yellowed photographs and newspaper clippings. "You never found that train," he murmured, voice thin, "but I never lied about it." I squeezed his hand. "Yeah, Charlie, sure thing." His eyes met mine, cloudy but piercing. "Listen closer, Benji. Not all lies are lies." And he told me the story again. 2 weeks after Charlie passed, I found myself at the old library, sifting through newspapers from 1932. Page after dusty page flipped by until one stopped me cold. A faded headline read, "Freight derails during freak flood. Silver bullion lost." I stared until my vision blurred, hands trembling. Charlie Dawe, best liar in Tanner's Creek, had told at least one truth after all. And I realized then that Charlie wasn't lying for the sake of lies. He told lies because it kept Tanner's Creek alive, kept hope shimmering like treasure beneath muddy waters. Maybe he lied to himself, too, just enough to believe there was always something waiting out there, something hidden, something wonderful, if we listened close enough. His lawyer came by, looking for me a few weeks after Charlie died. He gave me a key to a storage unit just outside town. Charlie had left it to me, along with his little one-bedroom cottage down on First Street. The little house wasn't much, just a ticket out of my mom's place. But in the storage locker, I found Charlie's secret. I thought it would be old fishing gear, newspapers, maybe another lie boxed up and forgotten. Instead, I found more silver bullion than 100 men could ever spend in a lifetime. I laughed so hard my ribs ached as his words echoed back to me, and I finally understood what he meant by listening real close. Try as they might, he had said, they never did find that silver. They hadn't. Charlie had. The sly fox had hidden the truth in the truth. 50 years later, I still live in that old cottage Charlie gave me. Now and again, I go out of town for the weekend and cash in a little of that bullion, just enough that nobody is ever the wiser. My mother died about 5 years after I moved into the cottage. I didn't host a funeral, and I never went back to her property before I sold it. I guess I was done with her about the time we laid my daddy in the ground. Always seemed to me she'd jumped in there with him and left an animated corpse in her place anyhow. Today, I sit on the liar's bench. I tell stories about old Charlie Dawe and a lost train beneath Lake Erie. Tanner's Creek has always had use for a good liar. Most folks chuckle, shake their heads, and move on with their lives. Some call me the best liar they've ever met. But once in a while, a kid leans closer, eyes wide, heart beating faster, dreaming impossible dreams. And when that happens, I smile softly into my coffee, tap the driftwood cane Charlie left me, and start another story. Did I ever tell you about the fisherman who spoke to the lake?